Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Top seed Gauff pulls off Montreal comeback over Kudermetova. Number 1 seed Coco Gauff of the United States is firmly back in her winning ways after she toughed out another 3-set victory over a former top 10 player at the Omnium Banque Nationale on Thursday. Montreal, draws, scores, order of play. World number 2 Gauff fought back from a set and a breakdown to notch a 4-6, 7-5, 6-2 victory over Veronika Kudermetova and reached the round of 16 for the 5th consecutive edition of this tournament. It was a tough match today. Gauff said afterwards, "I thought I did well mentally, especially on the return. I was playing an opponent that served really well. Obviously I would like to serve better on my end, but overall, just happy to get through." Gauff survived hitting 14 double faults before taking the win in 2 hours and 32 minutes. After losing her first career meeting with Kudermetova, Gauff has now won their last 3 encounters on tour. The 21-year-old Gauff is the youngest player to register 10 career match wins at this tournament since Justine Henin in 2003. Picking up wins again, after Gauff claimed her second Grand Slam singles title at Roland Garros in June, she suffered a 2-match winless blip, losing her opening contests at Berlin and Wimbledon. In her first match this week, she needed a 3rd-set tiebreak to squeak past former world number 7 Danielle Collins. Former world number 9 Kudermetova also gave Gauff a stern test, but this time, the American dominated the 3rd set after coming back from a 1-set deficit. Gauff is now a win away from making her 4th Omnium Banque Nationale quarterfinal in her 5 tournament appearances. Tale of the match. On Thursday, Gauff saw a 4-1 first-set lead slip away, and at 4-4, 40-15, the American lost 5 of the next 8 points with double faults. Kudermetova took advantage, firing strong groundstroke winners from both wings as she wrapped up the set. 3 more Gauff double faults in the opening game of the 2nd set gave Kudermetova a hefty set-and-a-break lead, but the typically gritty Gauff started to turn the match around as the set progressed. Gauff was able to pull back level, breaking for 3-3 with a forehand return winner. Gauff was not out of the woods just yet, and she had to save break points in both her 4-4 and 5-5 service games, barely denying Kudermetova chances to serve for a straight sets win. But the American did scrape to 6-5, at which point Kudermetova blinked, slamming a backhand smash into the net to give Gauff the 2nd set. "I just think I got really upset with myself, and I was just like, just try to hit the ball hard and deep in the court," Gauff said, reflecting on her 2nd set turnaround. "Eventually I was able to turn that anger into something more positive." After that set, Gauff took charge, breaking Kudermetova at love for a 2-0 lead in the decider. Gauff eased home from there, and the match ended with Kudermetova's first double fault of the day. Gauff finished the match with a 5-4, 10 breakpoint conversion rate. Top seed Coco Gauff pulls off dazzling Montreal comeback over Kudermetova. In the humid Canadian summer evening, the stage was set at the IGA Stadium in Montreal for what was expected to be a routine outing for the top-seeded Coco Gauff. But what unfolded on that Friday night was anything but predictable. Under the glare of the floodlights and the expectations that come with being a reigning U.S. Open champion, Gauff found herself on the ropes again. Across the net stood Veronika Kudermetova, a fierce competitor with a big serve and an even bigger chip on her shoulder. The Russian wasn't here to be a footnote in Gauff's summer run. She came to disrupt, and for a moment, it looked like she would. A shaky start, Gauff in trouble. From the very first point, Kudermetova played like a woman possessed. Her groundstroke sizzled, her serve cracked off the racket with pace and precision, and her movement, so often underestimated, was crisp and aggressive. Gauff, by contrast, appeared unusually flat. Her forehand sprayed, her serve faltered, and her usual defensive wall was riddled with cracks. By the end of the first set, the scoreboard flashed an uncomfortable reality. Kudermetova 6, Gauff 3. Fans exchanged worried glances. Commentators began subtly shifting their tone. "Could this be the end of Gauff's Montreal campaign?" murmured one analyst. The whispers of doubt began to echo louder in the stadium. After all, This was the same Gauff who had struggled with 23 double faults just a round earlier. Was the pressure of the top seed mantle starting to weigh too heavily inside the mind of a champion? But if there's one thing Gauff has mastered in her short but electric career, it's resilience. Between sets, she sat quietly, eyes closed, breathing deeply. In that silence, something shifted. Maybe it was a reminder of the long hours on practice courts with her father. Maybe it was the thought of all those kids in the stands wearing her merchandise, dreaming of becoming the next Coco. Or maybe it was just Gauff being Gauff, refusing to let the story end before it was written. "I had to get out of my head," she would later say in the post-match interview. "I stopped playing safe and started playing smart." The comeback begins. From the very first game of the second set, there was a noticeable shift. Gauff began to attack Kudermetova's second serve. Her own serve steadied. The crowd, sensing the change, grew louder with every hold and break point. What was once a tight rope became a trampoline. At 3-3, Gauff pounced. A series of brilliant returns earned her the break. The fist pumps returned. The signature bounce on her toes energy was back. Suddenly, she was flying around the court again, tracking down every ball, redirecting pace, forcing Kudermetova to go for more than what was reasonable. And she did. Kudermetova's errors crept in. The momentum was gone. Gauff slammed the door shut with a sizzling backhand down the line to take the second set, 6-4. The deciding set, grit meets greatness. The third set was the kind of tennis that reminds fans why they fell in love with the sport in the first place. Momentum swung like a pendulum. Kudermetova refused to go quietly. She amped up the aggression, flattening out her ground strokes and painting the lines. But Gauff, now fully locked in, met fire with fire. They traded breaks early. At 4-4, with tension thick enough to slice with a racket, Gauff dug into one of the most brutal service games of the match. Kudermetova earned 2 break points, the chance to serve out the match. But Gauff, staring down the barrel, delivered 3 straight unreturnable serves. The crowd erupted. 5-4 Gauff. And then came the moment that will likely play on loop in highlight reels. 30-30, Kudermetova serving to stay in the match. A long rally ensued. 22 shots of athleticism, tactics, and raw willpower. Kudermetova tried a surprise drop shot. Gauff sprinted forward, barely getting there in time, scooping up the ball with a low backhand flick past her stunned opponent. Match point. On the next serve, Kudermetova double faulted. Gauff raised her arms. The crowd stood as one. Final score, 3-6, 6-4, 6-4. What this win really means. In terms of the tournament, Gauff moves forward, one step closer to her first Canadian Open title. But this match was about more than a quarterfinal win. It was about grit. It was about mental toughness. It was about how champions respond when the lights are too bright and the game isn't going their way. She has this ability to adjust, to problem-solve mid-match, said Lindsay Davenport, watching in the commentary box. That's not something you teach. That's instinct. That's greatness. And that greatness was on full display, even while facing a player like Kudermetova, a woman whose game is made to punch holes in defenses. Gauff weathered the storm. Kudermetova deserves her flowers, while Gauff's comeback deserves the spotlight. Let's not forget Veronika Kudermetova. The Russian came in with a plan and executed it for nearly 2 full sets. She pushed the top seed to the brink and reminded the tennis world why she remains a dangerous threat on any surface. Her net play was elegant, her forehand punishing, and her willingness to take risks admirable. In another draw, this might have been her tournament. But not tonight. Not against Coco. The bigger picture, Gauff's growth in 2025. This wasn't the first time Gauff has had to dig herself out of a hole this season. But each time she does, the growth is more apparent. Earlier in her career, she might have unraveled after losing a set, or gotten too emotional when her forehand misfired. But in 2025, Coco Gauff is learning how to win ugly, how to manage pressure, how to adapt. All hallmarks of a true elite player. She already has the tools, the freakish athleticism, the strategic mind, the competitive spirit. But now, she has the maturity to pull herself out of a match that wasn't going her way and still emerge the victor. What's next for Gauff? With this win, Gauff marches into the semifinals, where the competition only gets stiffer. Names like Elena Rybakina, Iga Swiatek, and Aryna Sabalenka still loom large. But after tonight's battle, the question isn't whether Coco Gauff can beat them. It's who's going to stop her. Final thoughts when fire meets ice. There's something magical about watching Coco Gauff play. The way she turns defense into offense, the emotional intensity, the sheer determination not to lose. And when that energy meets the cool, clinical challenge of someone like Kudermetova, fans are treated to matches that transcend sport, matches that inspire, matches that remind us why Gauff, at just 21, already feels like a veteran, not just of the tour, but of moments. Montreal witnessed one of those moments tonight, and if the tennis gods are kind, many more are on the way.